This CEO failed to smile for 20 years. Until his secretary sang at midnight, every whispered rumor in downtown Chicago echoed the same chilling tale. The once legendary CEO, Gregory Steele, had turned into a phantom, a man who hadn't smiled in 2 decades. His office perched high atop the gleaming skyscraper, with a view that rivaled the dawn itself. Yet, something sinister hung in the air, as if the very air conditioning units were scared to breathe life into the space he restricted to shadow and silence. Those who ventured into his lair returned pale, eyes wide. They said his very presence sucked the warmth from the room, like an unseen storm brewing behind the glass walls. The strangest part? It wasn't just about a sad CEO. No, tales twisted into wild fables about forgotten music and forgotten spirits. Rumor had it that a melody escaped only at midnight, when the city pulsed with life, awakening the solace of years long gone. They said that at the stroke of 12, strange, haunting tunes could be heard, rippling through the cold, sterile hall where he ruled like a tyrant. Was it his heart longing for a sound lost in time? Or some otherworldly force, manipulating the strings of fate? Each passing year thickened the air like fog, yet an unexpected spark flickered in the tale. Sophia, the new secretary, arrived one fateful evening, oblivious to the brewing storm. She was naive, her laughter was a warm blanket against the chill of Steele's gloom, a beam of light in a shadow world. Yet, she heard the whispers too. And one night, driven by a surge of curiosity, she lingered after hours, alone among the silent cubicles. Her heart raced, tension tingled up her spine as she approached the heavy oak door marked CEO. And then it happened. She began to sing, her voice soft and trembling, a lullaby that danced through the stillness like a breath of fresh air. The sound curled and climbed, reaching for the vacant corners of the office. Little did she know, the shadows stirred. Steele, hidden behind that door, stirred too. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As her melody flowed, Steele felt a twitch deep within him, a spark of something alive. A long-buried emotion clawed its way through shadows, squeezing his heart until it ached. Could it be? Was the darkness that had entwined his spirit finally loosening its grip? And then a soft gasp snapped the air into fragments. Steele opened the door, his expression a volatile mix of surprise and incredulity. What would happen next? Would this secret song be the catalyst for change, or an awakening of something darker? As the echo of Sophia's voice lingered like perfume in the air, the question hung unspoken between them, daring the world to answer. Steele stood frozen, caught in the ricochet of confusion and a flicker of something he hadn't felt in years. Hope? Regret? The soft glow from Sophia's phone illuminated her features, framing her anxious smile. Tension clung to the air, thick as molasses. She cleared her throat, words caught somewhere between fear and boldness. Mr. Steele, I didn't know anyone was. I didn't mean to disturb you, she stammered, her heart pounding like a drum, echoing in the silent expanse of his office, but he remained silent, his gaze transfixed on her, as if she were a mirage. The moment felt unreal, yet here they were tethered by the invisible line connecting a wounded past to an uncertain future. The clock ticked ominously, marking the urgency of the moment. Please, continue, his voice was gravelly as if he hadn't spoken in ages. Sophia's breath caught, fear tugging at her like a riptide, but she found herself drawn to this demigod, imprisoned within his own creation. Taking a tentative step forward, she opened her mouth again, pouring her soul into the song. The notes swirled around the room, breaking the chains of silence that had bound them both. Steele's heart flickered. For the first time in 2 decades, an ember of warmth ignited inside him. The music wrapped around his heart like a life-giving force. Could it chase away his demons? As Sophia sang, eyes closed, he saw more than just a secretary, he saw a woman powerful enough to breach the fortress he had built around himself. The shadows danced playfully along the walls, drawn toward her voice, as if the very office craved the revolution she brought. But without warning, a chill swept through the room. The music faltered, and an unseen force enveloped them, a sensation of dread crashing through the light. Steele's expression twisted with confusion, then shifted into something darker. "Who are you?" he asked, his eyes narrowing, as if he recognized something terrifying in her presence. "I am just Sophia," she said, apprehension leaking into her voice. A shiver traced her spine, twisting fear and bravado. The familiar rumors flooded back, whispers of music, spirits, and the winter of Steele's heart. Had she awakened something? Something he wasn't prepared to face. As she backed up, the shadows thickened. A cold draft swirled around them like a ghost tearing at the fabric of reality. Steele's facade began to crack under the strain, the pent-up sorrow and despair of 20 years clawing back to the surface. "Stay!" he boomed, desperation lacing his command. It was a treatise of longing and an accusation rolled into one. The air shimmered between them, and Sophia felt her heart rate spike. "What have I done?" she whispered, eyes wide, sensing the delicate chord of fate they were teetering on. Steele took a step closer, and a wave of energy pulsed through the room. A flicker of anger and something unnameable twisted in his expression. "You don't understand what you've disturbed." For the first time, the truths buried beneath the company's polished atmosphere began to claw their way to light. The secrets that held Steele captive were ready to unravel, and Sophia unwittingly held the key. Unseen eyes watched from the corners of the office, purveyors of the past haunting the frozen moments. The shadows stirred, shifting and swirling, and with that, an ominous whisper echoed through the chambers of the heart they both thought forever sealed. "What if I'm not the only one who has waited for this moment?" And in that heartbeat, a new terror unfurled, a reality they couldn't escape. What awaited them both when the clock struck again? What shadows would leap forth, demanding to be heard? Sophia's heart raced as the shadows pulsated around them, viscous and alive. She felt an insatiable tension grip her, morphing her anxiety into sheer panic. A low rumble echoed through the room, as if the walls themselves were whispering secrets too dark to share. "Steele, what's happening?" she managed to croak, her confidence crumbling beneath the weight of dread. Something is awakening," Steele warned, his voice a whisper that barely masked his fear. His eyes darted, scanning the corners like a trapped animal, teasing out the ominous presence lurking just beyond sight. The light from Sophia's phone flickered as if caught in a power struggle, illuminating the growing shadows that bled into the room. He stepped closer, a ball of raw emotion tangled in his chest. "Your song, it has roots, Sophia." "Dark roots," he said, his fingers curling into fists at his sides. "You've tapped into something profound. We need to stop it before it consumes us." But how could they undo what had already been unleashed? Her mind raced to comprehend his words, but doubt clouded her thoughts. "I didn't mean to, I just wanted to." Her voice trailed off, swallowed by the escalating tension. The winds howled outside, rattling the window panes. For a moment, Sophia felt like a marionette, strung along by the unseen puppeteer of fate. They stood on the precipice of something both ancient and wicked, and with each passing second, the shadows thickened, eagerly inching toward her. "I think there is something here. In this office." Steele's face hardened, a mask of resolve painted over his fear. "Something we can't ignore. Can you feel it?" Sophia nodded, her throat dry, a lump of dread crystallizing in her chest. She could sense a smoldering energy, tendrils of darkness coiling around them. Her artistry, meant to be a connection, had morphed into a conduit for something insidious. "What if it's too late?" she whispered, eyes reflecting the conflict within her. A gust surged through the office, extinguishing the glow of the phone's light. They stood mirroring sinking ships in the engulfing darkness. Every breath they took felt heavy, saturated with regret and trepidation. "Listen to me," Steele steadied his voice, urgently yet soothing. "Sometimes you have to face the monster to free yourself. Whatever is hidden here, whatever secrets it holds, it's been waiting, just like you and me." Sophia's gut twisted. What had unleashed this force? She barely knew the man before her, yet the connection grew impossibly strong. "What kind of monster?" she asked, her voice trembling. A flash of fear now ignited in Steele's deep-set eyes, memories etched in every line of his face. The kind that feeds on our past on guilt. It knows my regrets, knows what I did. Her heart clenched. What did you do? But before he could respond, a thunderous crack echoed, shaking the room. A singular light illuminated the shadows as a figure emerged, shrouded in obscurity. The air thickened, crackling with energy that sent chills racing along Sophia's spine. Steal, the figure hissed, a voice dripping with bitterness, a long-lost echo from nightmares past. You thought you could bury me. But you were wrong. Sophia gasped, stumbling back, terror pooling in her gut. This presence, whatever it was, had been waiting. For what? Vengeance? Justice? An unholy bid for freedom. Steele's face twisted in horror as he grasped the truth that had clawed its way to the surface. No, not you. He turned to Sophia, urgency etched on his features. We must find a way to combine our strengths or face the darkness alone. As the figure advanced, shadows billowed around them, threatening to ensnare their very souls. Would they fight together against this malevolence? Or would they be swallowed, consumed by the ghosts of their own making? The floor trembled, and in that moment of desperation, a choice lay before them. But as the sinister figure drew nearer, its intentions swirling like smoke, a final question echoed, a pulse that echoed with the urgency of a heartbeat. Who among them would be strong enough to confront the past and seize hold of hope? Darkness enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Sophia's breath quickened, the oppressive presence was now a tangible weight pressing her down. Steele's arm shot out to steady her, a flicker of strength amidst the chaos. Stay close, he urged, pulling Sophia towards him as the figure loomed, an indistinct mass wrapped in shadows. It was hard to discern its features, but the weight of malice radiating from it was unmistakable. Do you think you can escape me, Steele? The voice hissed again, dripping with venom. I've fed on your memories for far too long. Memories, Sophia muttered, trying to focus, to remember the song that had drawn this horror forth. She could feel an echo of notes in the back of her mind, a melody entwined with a past she never understood. Steele, what do you remember? He looked down, a mixture of shame and defiance swirling in his eyes. Regrets. Choices I thought I could erase. Your song tore down the walls. It's not just my past we face, it's something far worse. The shadows crept closer, tendrils like fingers reaching out to entangle their ankles. As they drew near, whispered secrets filled the air, words from the voiceless past, weaving a tapestry of anguish. Fight it! Steele yelled, his voice breaking through the cacophony. Remember who you are. Who are we? Sophia shot back, fear freezing her every thought. What have we awakened? With a guttural growl, the figure surged forward, its malevolence erupting into a swirling torrent around them, a storm of darkness hungry for souls. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown, a reminder of the choices that had led them here. Feel the guilt, the pain, it taunted, unlock the memories, let them flow. Then you will understand. No! Steele shouted, his resolve hardening. We won't give you that power. Not now. The figure paused, an eyebrow lifted in twisted amusement. You think you can resist? The past always finds a way to bite back. Without thinking, Sophia closed her eyes and reached into her mind, grasping for the melody. The notes fluttered like wings, an echo of laughter, sorrow, love. She opened her mouth and sang, the words tumbling out, a counter-rhythm to the chaos. The past is just a part of me, not the whole. I choose to see. Her voice rang clear, a beacon in the oppressive dark. Steele stared at her, caught between disbelief and hope. Of the shadows recoiled, tensions breaking like a wave against a cliff. Stop! You can't, the figure wailed, its human form flickering, struggling against the swell of the unexpected song. Sophia felt strength pouring into her, energy igniting her soul, a realization that she did hold power. The memories were hers to command, not just echoes of despair but also of triumph and love. Together! Steele shouted, grasping her hand, urging her to amplify the melody. She felt his fear mingle with her strength, forging an unexpected alliance against the darkness that haunted them both. They sang as one, a duet of defiance, intertwining threads of hope and regret. The shadows peeled back, quivering at the force of their unity. But just as victory seemed at hand, the figure let out a deafening howl of rage, coiling around them like smoke. You think you've won? It sneered. You can cage the past, but it will always claw its way back. As the room warped, walls bending and sighing under the weight of the battle, Sophia sensed a shift, a darker undercurrent pulling at her thoughts. Steel, she gasped, what if it's not just our pasts we have to face? In the heart of the chaos, a new realization dawned. Every note held a consequence, a memory entwined in another fate. As they fought to keep the darkness at bay, a spectral figure shattered the shadows around them, someone they both had long forgotten. Who was that? Steel shouted, voice hoarse. I don't know. Sophia's eyes widened, terror flooding her senses. But it looks like it's coming for us. The song faltered as they faced this new ghost, an unraveling of horrors yet to come. Could they confront the remnants of their past, or would they be lost again, swallowed by shadows of memories even darker than the ones they had faced? The figure lurched closer, its outline sharpening as dread pooled in Sophia's stomach. The face was familiar, twisted by pain but undeniably recognizable. You've forgotten me, the ghostly apparition whispered, its voice a chilling echo of the past. I am the one you abandoned. Steel's grip tightened on her hand. No. This can't be real. The shadowy figure moved like a wisp of smoke, weaving in and out of the darkness that swallowed the room. You thought erasing me would shield you? You set me adrift while you ran. Sophia felt a tremor rip through her body, memories flickering like distant fireflies in her mind. A name came to her, something bubbling beneath guilt, a friend. Emma? She stuttered, the name barely escaping her lips, but the name alone ignited an avalanche of emotions. Ah, there it is. Emma's smile, once bright, now contorted with bitterness and regret. Finally, you remember. But tell me, how has it felt to live in a perfect world while I rotted away in your mind? Listen, I didn't mean to. Sophia's voice cracked, but Steel cut in, pushing back against the torment swirling around them. We can fix this. You don't have to feed on our memories any longer. Steel's conviction helped solidify Sophia's resolve. Amidst the chaotic swirl of memories pleading for recognition, she grasped his hand tighter. We can reclaim what was lost. With a defiant breath, she began to sing again, her voice quaking but unwavering. Memories can heal if we only face our fears to bring lost souls back. We'll fight until it clears. The melody floated above the shadows, rising to meet them, a bright strand of hope sown through the fog of despair. Emma stumbled back, the shadows flickering in disoriented waves, as if the song held power they never intended to release. Stop, no. You're rewriting history. Emma retorted, her form flickering like a faulty bulb. The shadows surged, convinced they could reassert control. But something stirred within the darkness, beginning to shift. What would you do instead, Emma? Steel shouted, confronting the twisting shape. Continue living in bitterness? Clinging to your anger? We've all made mistakes. Let us remember the good instead. The room pulsed with their combined energy, thrumming with the weight of love, loyalty, and loss. With a heart full of anguish, Sophia sang faster, the notes vibrating with urgency and intent. The shadows hesitated, twisting as they battled the encroaching light of their voices. You've lost that connection, Emma growled, but now her voice wavered too, uncertainty seeping through the bravado. We can't go back. Yes, we can. Sophia insisted, tears streaming down her cheeks. Together. As the lyrics filled the air, a warmth spread, curling around them like a safety net. The very fabric of the space shifted, walls shimmering as if awakening to the truth of their power. With a final surge of conviction, they sang the last line in harmony. Indiana, the past lies our beginning, in our hearts, the strength to mend. The darkness shattered with a thunderous clap, sending shards of the past spiraling away. But Emma's figure caught the fragments, her essence disintegrating like smoke in the wind. Remember me, she gasped, her voice fading, but her eyes glimmered with something unfamiliar, acceptance? As silence descended, the room fell still, holding its breath. The shadows had retreated, but a thick lingering tension knotted in Sophia's stomach. Steel turned to her, confusion swirling in his gaze. What just happened? Before she could respond, something dark flickered at the edge of their vision, an ominous figure materializing from the damaged shadows. This one was different, far more sinister, radiating an energy that clawed at the edges of their resolve. "Congratulations," it hissed mockingly, voice dripping with malice. "You've taken one step, but the game has only just begun." Fear surged back, monstrous and unyielding. They had not escaped, this was merely the beginning. "What does it want?" Steele whispered, eyes darting back towards the apparition. Sophia's heart raced. "I don't know, but it's coming for us." Suddenly the past didn't seem so far away, and the dark tide threatened to pull them both under once more. As the new figure stepped closer, shadow swirling in its wake, an unsettling question formed in her mind: could they face this new terror, or would they once again be devoured by their own fears? The figure loomed larger, stretching like a dark cloud, a black hole threatening to consume everything in its path. Sophia could feel the room itself inhale, the air turning cold and thick, stifling the faint warmth that had ignited hope moments before. Steele stepped in front of her, instinctively shielding her as the shadows writhed around them. "Stay back!" he shouted, but his voice trembled, revealing the uncertainty gnawing at his bravery. The figure's eyes glinted with malevolence, a predatory stare that seemed to pierce them. "Foolish children," it hissed, words curling around them like smoke. "Your song was powerful, but wasted on a ghost. I feed on despair, and you've given me plenty." Sophia could feel her heart pounding against her ribcage, a frantic drumbeat. Despair? The word echoed through her mind. They had fought hard. Emma had been liberated, hadn't she? Yet here stood this new entity, reclaiming power like a wolf circling lost lambs. "What do you want from us?" Sophia managed, her courage flickering like a candle in a storm. The creature laughed, dark and rich, deep enough to send vibrations through the floor. "To remind you," it snarled, "that your past is not easily escaped. There's always more to lose." Suddenly, shadows surged, creeping towards them, sharp edges forming like living tendrils eager to snatch them up. The walls began to pulse, vibrating with the chilling energy of the malevolent force. "Run!" Steele yelled, grabbing Sophia by the arm and pulling her toward the nearest exit. They dashed across the room, but the door stood ominously closed. Sophia's breath came in ragged gasps. Could they really outrun the darkness? Just as despair threatened to overwhelm her, she heard it, the echoes of music, faint but powerful, whispering through the chaos. It was the melody she had sung back to Emma, lingering like a thread of hope. Steele glanced back, eyes wide. "We have to fight it. It's feeding on our fear." Sophia nodded, resolve igniting anew. They had reclaimed memories, faced the past. Now they had to harness that power. She took a deep breath, heart steadying, and began to hum softly, the melody spiraling into a stronger tune. "Together now," she urged, reaching for Steele's hand, their fingers weaving together in determination. "This one and with darkness." Steele joined in, his voice merging with hers, uplifting notes floating through the air, fighting against the oppressive shadows. The creature twisted in frustration, shadows recoiling. "No! You think your song can silence me?" It growled, but a hitch in its voice hinted at fear. The shadows pulsated harder, a desperate push against the rising light changing the melody. They sang boldly now, an anthem of defiance. "Fear cannot shackle us, nor bind our flight. In this moment, we reclaim our light." The shadows shook, splintering into wild angles that danced away from the warmth of their song. It sent ripples through the darkness, illuminating the bleak corners of the room, stirring echoes long buried within herself. "Stop them!" the sinister figure screeched, but the more they sang, the more the wall between them and freedom blurred. In a last-ditch attempt, the figure lunged forward, a rush of blackness tumbling toward them, raw and hungry. Time slowed. Sophia felt the terror clawing back, a wild beast from her past lingering at the edges of control. This was the moment it would all either shatter or awaken something greater. "Sing louder!" Steele shouted, a fire igniting in his eyes. With all their strength, they belted the final line together. "We are not defined by what is lost, we rise, we soar, we bear no cost." The sound exploded, filling every corner, crystallizing hope amid despair. A piercing light erupted, shredding the darkness in a blinding burst. They felt an electric jolt, profound and liberating, surging through their bodies as the malevolent figure shrieked, fading into nothingness, but as the light dimmed, they found that something was not right. The shadows had retreated, yet a weight remained, heavier than before. Looking around, uncertainty churned in Sophia's gut. The air felt different, thick with remnants of something the darkness had tainted. What have we truly set in motion? Steele whispered, shifting his gaze toward the door at last swinging open. But behind it lay not freedom, but a darkness lingering, whispering sinister promises. Is this really over? Sophia asked, dread creeping back in. Every instinct warned her this was merely the calm before the storm. What awaited them beyond the threshold? A new wave of terror gripped her. Was it just the beginning of a deeper nightmare? The room was still, too still. An unsettling silence draped over them, muffling the echoes of their triumphant song, leaving a suffocating void. The door stood ajar, its edges flickering with shadows that whispered secrets in a language unspoken. Steele's grip on Sophia tightened, his knuckles white, and they exchanged a glance, both aware they had no choice but to face what lurked on the other side. "Are you ready?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper now. Sophia swallowed hard, heart racing. "No. But we have to." They stepped forward, hesitating as the darkness breathed softly around them. With each step, the air seemed to thicken, turning their resolve into a leaden weight. Was this the price of their defiance? The soft glow of their earlier triumph felt distant, like a fading star in a night sky. They crossed the threshold, and the world beyond was a chilling contrast to the sanctuary they had just escaped. The walls breathed a heavy sigh, each pulse reverberating through her bones. Shadows flickered out of the corners of her vision, twisting into grotesque forms that danced just out of reach, teasing her courage. Then the whispers grew louder, curling around her like a serpent. "Welcome, welcome back, you've quite a following now." Sophia's heart plummeted. The voice dripped with sinister delight, as if it had been waiting for their arrival, feeding off their weariness. "Did you think the battle was won? Oh, my dear children, you've merely opened the door. What do you want?" Steele barked, his voice trembling with suppressed fear. "To explore your little minds," it rasped, laughter trailing like smoke. "To see the very depths of your insecurities. And perhaps, just perhaps, to make you face the ultimate truth: you are not free." A chill raced down Sophia's spine, as memories, painful, raw memories, tugged at her consciousness. Faces of lost friends, echoes of betrayal, and the cruelest of failures came rushing back, invading her mind. She clasped her hands together, grounding herself against the rising tide of emotions. "Not today," she whispered, barely audible, but determined. She would not let the darkness win again. Steele stepped close, their shoulders brushing in solidarity. "Together," he affirmed, his voice snapping back with a newfound edge. "Sing!" Sophia yelled, her heart igniting with defiance once more. "We fought before, and we can fight again." And they started to hum, tentative at first, but each note warmed the chill in the air. The darkness recoiled, swirling almost violently with the sound. They sang louder, harmonizing with a fire that burned away doubts. As their melody surged, they caught a glimpse of a silhouette emerging from the shadows. Emma. But this was not the Emma they had saved. This figure looked lost, her eyes vacant. Sophia's heart broke anew. This was another twisted reflection of the reality they feared. "Emma?" Sophia's voice trembled, reaching out toward what appeared to be her friend, but only emptiness stared back. "Let her go," Steele shouted, commanding, a protective instinct blasting through his veins. "Oh, Steele," the voice echoed, and it was distant, distorted, dripping with mockery. "You want her?" "She is just one of many. But here is where you will find the truth of your souls." The shadows leapt, swirling and coiling toward them, a tempest of despair and fury. The darkness was alive, a living creature thirsting for their pain. "Your past shapes your future," it hissed, clawing at the edges of their resolve, the room vibrating with the weight of its malice. "Face what you've lost." "I won tea," Sophia screamed. With every ounce of strength, they pushed against the tide of darkness, their song transforming into a rallying cry. The shadows flickered, and for a fleeting moment, she glimpsed the light on the other side, a glimmer, a road untraveled, waiting to be forged anew. but doubt began to creep in. How could they defeat something that fed on their fears? Just when the shadows seemed to recede, a gust of wind blasted through, slamming the door behind them. The room trembled, shadows thickening into monstrous shapes, solidifying into forms that mirrored their greatest fears. What if hope is just a mirage? The voice taunted, and then, as if the universe held its breath, Steele's and Sophia's notes broke through the cacophony. We choose to believe. Together. They shouted, drowning out the darkness, but in that same instant, a new figure loomed behind them, cloaked in darkness, a familiar yet eerie presence. The battle had only just begun, and the true test of their strength awaited them. Would the darkness swallow them whole, or would they break its hold once and for all? A storm was brewing within and without, one they couldn't ignore. The question hung heavy in the air, a challenge: what would they sacrifice to emerge victorious? The darkness swirled around them like a living thing, an insidious presence tightening its grip with every word spoken. The figure behind them moved closer, stalking the edges of their fears, its shadow deepening the void around them. Sophia strained her eyes, trying to make sense of the distorted face that reminded her of Emma, yet it was twisted and inhuman, a mask woven from despair. Emma! Sophia cried again, desperation clawing at her throat. You're stronger than this. Fight it! The figure laughed, a sharp sound like glass shattering. Oh, sweet Sophia, she cannot hear you. Not in this place. Your voices are nothing but echoes, fading into the void. Do you feel that? The weight of your failures? They are why you're here, why you'll always be here. Steele's body tensed beside her. We won't let you play with our minds. He shouted, but his voice wasn't unwavering anymore. It wobbled, the uncertainty leaking through his fierce facade. As if sensing the moment of weakness, the darkness surged forward. The swirling shadows began to morph into the faces of those they had lost, reeking of hurt and betrayal, friends abandoned, dreams crushed, hope extinguished. Each visage pulled at Sophia's heart, and she stumbled back, her melody faltering, her thoughts raced, drowning under the tide of grief. No! Not them! I refuse to let their memory haunt me like this. But the darkness fed on doubt, and it pulsed with life, growing stronger with each flicker of her weakened resolve. Sophia held Steele's hand tightly, drawing strength from his presence. We are not just our pain, she urged. That's not all we have. Yes, it is. The dark figure growled, stepping closer, the abyss within its eyes deepening with hunger. You have no power here. But I can give you what you truly desire, the ultimate truth. Sophia's breath quickened. What are you talking about? The truth of your failures. Of your regrets. The raw pulse of your insecurities, begging to be embraced. It leaned closer, whispering sweet nothings that felt like poison to her ears. What would you trade for forgiveness? Who would you betray for the sake of freedom? Steele flinched. Fight it, Sophia! He shouted, his voice shaking. Don't listen. We control our own truth. With each heartbeat, the shadows closed in tighter, a suffocating weight that pressed against their lungs. Sophia's heart raced, and with every second, doubt threatened to consume her. Memories fugued, an insistent drum pounding against her skull, the faces and voices of everyone they had lost, but echoing just beneath the drum was something different, a melody catching fire in her chest. She could no longer just hum, it was time to unleash everything they had fought for. Steele! She yelled, her resolve rekindling. Together! They began to sing again, their voices rising in defiance, weaving through the darkness that clawed at their souls. Each note they belted out was a shard of light piercing the suffocating gloom, illuminating the shadows that scuttled away, hissing in rage. But just as victory felt near, Steele's voice began to waver, the darkness slinking closer, grasping for the cracks in their unity. She could see it in his eyes, the fear of everything they stood to lose. Sophia felt the shadows push back, their immense weight threatening to drown their voices. We will not be defined by our past. She shouted, the battle intensifying around them. We are here to create new paths, to fight for hope. And then, just as the chorus reached a crescendo, the cloaked figure wavered. Scraps of its shape appeared fragile against the onslaught of their song. It opened its mouth to scream, an ear-piercing sound that vibrated through the air like a crack of thunder. But the sound transformed, too. It morphed into something else, something eerily beautiful, a haunting harmony that beckoned from beyond the shadows. "What is happening?" Steele gasped, staring wide-eyed. Sophia's breath hitched. "Can you hear it? There's something within the darkness." Something more, but before they could grasp the meaning, the figure shrieked, a deafening screech that flooded the room, clashing against their melody. "No! You don't get to escape. You think you know pain? You have no idea what you face." From the depths, it threw an image at them, a vision so real it snared Sophia's breath, a moment she had thought was buried forever. Her heart raced. Was this her greatest fear? Would she be lost in it, or could they wake up from this nightmare? The moment danced on the edge, heavy with uncertainty. What was this creature of darkness truly made of, and could they withstand its final strike? The answer lingered in the air, and as their song collided with the hammer of despair, Steele and Sophia braced themselves. What power would rise from the ashes of fear? The screech reverberated through the hollow space, echoing off unseen walls, wrapping around them like a noose. Sophia clutched Steele's hand tighter, their fingers intertwining in a desperate grip. He could feel her pulse pounding under her skin, raw and frantic, an electric current of fear and determination racing between them. What was that vision? Steele breathed, eyes darting towards the shadowy figure, its face shifting and distorting, revealing bits of memory that felt too close. The phantoms of their past loomed at the peripheries of their minds, their cries a cacophony that threatened to drown out the melody they were crafting together. "I don't know." Sophia's voice faltered, memories flaring like a wildfire just beneath her consciousness. The faces of lost friends, the haunting unfulfilled dreams, they swarmed her like a swarm of angry bees. She exhaled, trying to push past the suffocating presence. "It doesn't matter. We're not trapped here." But the figure's laughter sliced through her thoughts, a taunting melody wrapped in bitter despair. "You think your voices can free you? I will show you what you truly fear." With a wave of its shadowy hand, the air thickened and twisted, and suddenly, the room shifted around them. An icy chill swept through the ground. The world blurred and reformed, revealing a scene they both dreaded, a park, bright and lush under the sun, but empty. It held echoes of laughter, of joy long since gone. And there, in the center, stood figures they once cherished, but their faces were obscured, fragmented memories hopelessly trapped in this void. "Stop it!" Steele shouted, fury igniting within him. "They're gone. We have to let them go." But Sophia's heart collapsed at the sight, fragile whispers of bygone days. "We can't let go," she whispered, almost to herself. "What if we're forgetting them? The darkness wants you to hold on to those memories." Steele urged, his eyes fierce yet worried. "Don't you see? It's feeding off your grief." The figure gnashed its teeth, its form flickering. "Remembering is pain, and pain is your prison. You can't escape what you've lost. Accept it." Sophia felt the grip of despair trying to pull her under, a crushing thought that threatened to swallow her whole. But somewhere deep inside, something pushed back. The music, their melody, was still alive. "It's not just about forgetting," Sophia said, her voice gaining strength. "It's about honoring them." Steele nodded slowly, a spark igniting in his eyes. "Yes. We remember them, and we celebrate them by living. That's what they would want." As they spoke, the familiar notes slipped from their lips, threading through the oppressive atmosphere. It was an anthem for the lost, a hymn for the dreams they were nurturing. The shadows recoiled, dimming with every chord, the power of their song wrapping around the phantoms like a swaddling cloak, coaxing them into the light. The figure shrieked, contorting in rage. "No! You cannot take this from me. Then what's left for you?" Sophia screamed back, her voice raw. "You feed on our misery, but we refuse to give in. We're more than sorrow." The ground trembled beneath them, and the darkness began to shatter, breaking into fragments that glimmered like falling stars. Heat surged through her, igniting resolute energy within. "The moment has come," she gasped, feeling the crescendo building once again. What felt like a tidal wave of sound burst forth, a torrent of rising hope. As both of them belted out the final notes, the air shimmered, and the figure twisted in agony. It was losing grip, the darkness dissipating into scattered embers, fleeing from the light they unleashed, but as the blinding white overcame them, time stopped. One final vision surged forward, demanding attention. "No!" Steele hollered, eyes wide as he braced for the impact. Sophia stood frozen, caught between the promise of freedom and the unknownness of the final vision. What awaited them in that lingering light? Are we truly free? Beneath the blaring crescendo of their melody, doubt inked the edges of her mind. And as reality flickered, they braced for what was to come. What new revelation might emerge from the ashes of their confrontation? As the blinding light consumed them, Sophia felt an unearthly warmth wash over her. It wrapped around her like a mother's embrace, erasing all doubt, clinging to her as if it were a promise of hope, healing, and renewal. Steele was beside her, their hands still linked in an unbreakable bond of defiance against the darkness. "What's happening?" he asked, breathless, as the brilliance of the light pierced through whatever remained of the shadows around them. I think we are breaking free," Sophia exclaimed, her voice reverberating against the bright white surrounding them. "This is what we fought for." Every note they had sung together hung in the air like a stunning mosaic of their shared battle. Their fears, their regrets, and the haunting memories of lost friendships had formed a tapestry of resilience. Each thread whispered a story, a legacy that spoke of love that had transcended sorrow. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the light began to fade, revealing a verdant landscape. They stood together in a sunlit park, lush and vibrant, bustling with laughter and warmth. The air carried scents of fresh grass and blooming flowers, the kind that felt like home. Sophia squinted into the sunlight, her heart racing. "Is this real? Look over there," Steele urged, pointing toward a group gathered beneath a great oak tree, their faces unmistakable. Tears prickled at Sophia's eyes. There they were, friends and family, joy radiating from them like golden light. During their darkest moments, she had feared they had abandoned her, but here they stood, alive and free, hosting a picnic just as they used to. "Emma!" Sophia gasped, spotting her friend laughing amidst the crowd. But there was no haunting twist to her features this time. The bitterness was gone, instead, warmth filled the space. Steele gripped Sophia's hand tighter, a new determination blazing in his eyes. "We've set them free, and in turn, we've freed ourselves. This we've reclaimed it. We remember, and with that, we honor them," he said, voice steady and strong. "I was scared to face the pain of losing them, but it was the darkness that wanted to keep us trapped. It's always been about choosing to celebrate, isn't it?" She marveled, emotions swirling within her. "Exactly. Only by honoring their memories can we truly move forward and live our lives," Steele insisted, a gentle yet fierce conviction in his voice. "Let us live for them." As they took a step forward, the park radiated joy. Laughter swirled around them, weaving its way through the trees, beckoning memories of picnics, shared secrets, and sunsets. Sophia felt the barriers in her heart unraveling, letting light pour in, illuminating the haunted corridors of her past. With each stride, it was as if the shadows that once gripped her heart faded like a cruel winter, giving way to spring, a time to grow. Together, side by side, they reached the laughter of their loved ones, who welcomed them with open arms. "We thought we had lost you," Emma exclaimed, her eyes shimmering, filled with love. Sophia melted into her embrace, warmth flooding her soul as they shared stories far past sunset, their voices becoming melodies in the evening breeze. But even within the joy, a realization flickered. Battles were won, but reminders of darkness remained close at hand. Steele nudged Sophia slightly, as if sensing her lingering thoughts. "Are you ready to forge ahead?" With tears of hope shimmering, Sophia took a deep breath. The shadows might come calling again, but that was part of the journey, part of their stories, part of their music. "Yes," she announced, holding Steele's hand tightly. "We'll face whatever comes next together." As they stepped into the warmth of their life, intertwined with melody and memories, the surrounding whispers felt lighter, a lullaby of life instead of despair, a reminder of battles fought and overcome. This was their new beginning, a canvas awaiting the brush of their choices, and with courage as their palette, they were ready to paint their next adventure. The sun dipped low, casting golden hues across the horizon, a promise of many tomorrows to come together. And now, before you leave, this is your moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss out on the next thrilling story we have planned. Smash that like button to help us feed the algorithm and keep our community growing. And don't just stop there. Fill the comments section with your reactions and theories about this emotional conclusion. We want to hear every single one of them. Lastly, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this powerful ending. Together, we can create an amazing community, and your support means everything.